Now this is a story right here. You see 7 rifles. I'm only going to talk about the middle 5. There was a guy here in Chattanooga, got around the west side of the mountain and found a cave. Well, what good red-blooded American can see a cave and not go in and check it out? He walked into it. I think it was actually more of a big rock shelter than a true cave. And back in the back of the cave here, leaning against the back wall, were 9 Civil War rifles back against the wall. They've been there since 1863. This is 1931. Well, he hauled them out, took them down to his law office. He's a lawyer and an oilman here in Chattanooga. When I was 7 years old, a friend of mine, Bill Haynes, or a friend of my parents, Bill and Phyllis Haynes, he had this hanging over his fireplace. I was 7 years old. We were over there for a party or eating or something. He pulled the rifle down and showed it to me. I said, "Oh, Bill, I'd love to have that thing. I'd love to just come look at it, because I was raised on Lookout Mountain. You can come look at it anytime you want, but you ain't never going to get a hold of it." 20 years later, I finally got a hold of it. I finally rebuilt 2 Civil War swords using reproduction guards. I had the blades, and with reproduction guards, I rebuilt 2 swords and convinced him that those crossed swords look a whole lot better hanging over his fireplace than an old rusty rifle. So I walked home with it. Well, it's a model 1816. It was originally about this long. You notice it's been shortened a lot, so it's down to what they call a musket in length. It was originally a flintlock, made somewhere between 1816 and 1839. But as you can see by this part right here, and the hammer has been converted from a flintlock to a percussion. So, here's the first one. I was thrilled to get that thing. Well, you know how things will generate. Down in Jasper, Tennessee, there's a guy that's a barber. He's also a gun collector. I was down there a few years ago, and seemed like he had an old rusty rifle, came out of a cave someplace. So I took a half day of vacation, went down to Jasper, found the barber shop. We went back to the back of the barber shop, pulled out a key, unlocked the door. Long, narrow room, probably about 30-something foot long, about 12 foot wide. Jail bars on the doors, jail bars on the windows. And back in the corner, all by itself, was one little old rifle. You can see on the lock plate the date was made 1851. The wood's pretty solid, a lot more solid than it is on the first one I got a hold of. And I noticed it can still be cocked. They just took a hacksaw and cut the end of the barrel off, cut the stock off, took a knife, cleaned out the burrs. Being a smooth bore, it still worked. Now I had 2 of them. I'm really on top of the world. I said, "Charlie, you know I got an uncle, he's down in Ringo, Georgia. I hadn't seen him in 17 or 18 years. Seemed like he had a gun that came out of a cave someplace. He showed me his old gun that came out of a cave someplace." Well, I didn't get a chance to go down there till the following Thursday. Well, I rather than call him, I just went down and knocked on his door. I said, "I'm a friend of your nephew, so-and-so. And he told me you got an old gun that came out of a cave someplace." Oh, I do, don't I? Now, boy, it's been a long time since I showed that to him. Where'd I put that thing? About 30 minutes later, he finally came out with this. I don't know if he'll show up in the camera or not. He looked down the barrel. It's bent.
Oh, you can see, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's a French Colonial and Marines, model 1777. I looked at it. I was fascinated. Of course, I'm always fascinated with stuff. And I told him, I said, "I got 2 guns that came out of that cave." I said, "The first one," I told him about the story about it. I told him about the second one. The first 2, I told him. "You got another $65? I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's yours." I came home with number 3.
That's awesome.
That thrilled me. I mean, it thrilled me. But there's the third one. Now I got three of them. I really tried to find out what the daggum story about these things is. Well, a friend of mine, Dr. Reese Buttram, he ran the X-ray department, or I guess you can call it the X-ray department. Well, he was up at the house one night. They looked at all my artifacts and relics. I started telling him the story of these three guns, these three muskets. After I told him the story, he said, "You know, Charlie, I believe every word you say, but something's not right." About a year later, Jim Ogden, he's the chief historian at Chickamauga Park, called me one day and says, "Charlie," because he'd been up at the house and seen the guns and seen my collection. He said, "Is there any way we can borrow your three guns and put them on display out here at Chickamauga Park?" He said, "For 6 months." It was General Moore's brigade is on the side of Lookout Mountain. And I'm General Moore. I'm going to tell you what happened. Boy, this is the way it starts. He says, start off with, there's about somewhere between 15 and 20,000 Confederate soldiers captured the Battle of Vicksburg, July 4, 1863. We were sent home on our honor that we would not go back to war until we were officially exchanged. John Brown, one Yankee, Joe Smith, one Confederate. Exchanged. Now they can go back to war. All in the honor system. We started reforming our regiments and brigades and everything. And we started in all our marching maneuvers, all our flank maneuvers. It would show up for a price. It would show up for a price. Well, we had our own midnight requisitioners, and one of the guys, he found an outhouse. They used the term outhouse. What he means is an outbuilding down by the railroad station, loaded with junk weapons. Now we're getting up towards the end of October, first part of November. They're giving orders to go to the foot of the Lookout Mountain. You receive new weapons when you get there. But take your old ones with you. The temperature started dropping. The wind started coming up. The wind got about 25 miles an hour, which is not unusual for Chattanooga. The temperature went down to 3 degrees that night. And they had 6 inches of snow. Some of these troops gravitated around to the west side of Lookout Mountain where the cliffs are, which is limestone country. Limestone country has caves. They holed up for the evening. Well, General Moore, one letter I'm going to read to you in a few minutes, says we had 1,500 troops. We were given all these junkers, but the ammunition that they gave us was no good. We tear off the back of the cartridge, like we're supposed to, pour the powder down the barrel, and drop the bullet down the barrel. In Chattanooga, we don't find that much 69 caliber stuff. Everything's 58. Because by the time the war got to Chattanooga, you got the Yankees had their Springfields, 58 caliber. Confederates had captured Springfields, 58 caliber. Imported Enfields, 58 caliber. So you finally get down. They didn't have a use for 69s. They were already obsoleted. My feeling is that these soldiers on the side of Lookout Mountain, that morning, November 24th, 1863, they were probably a little bit to the north, talking to their buddies, eating breakfast with their buddies or something. And here comes Hooker's 14,000, ran a sweeping motion. They couldn't get back to their cave to get the guns. They got swept by. They came back down the wrong aisle. I came down, and here's a table just absolutely loaded with hundreds of Civil War guns. Bill Mitchell from Mobile, Alabama. I got looking at him, and right in the middle of all these guns is this thing. And an old onion skin. You remember the old typewriters?
Yep. With
a real thin onion skin paper. They type. And after years, that type would start bleeding out into the paper.
Yes.
stapled to the stock. This gun found in a cave on the side of Lookout Mountain, 1931. Oh my gosh. Another one, number 4. I looked at this thing, I said, Jim, excuse me, Jim Mitchell, what do you gotta have for that thing? I don't see a price on it. $600. Oh, Jim, $600? That's way too much. I had traded to Jim Mitchell a cannon made out of a 50 caliber machine gun barrel for that reproduction carbine. So I grabbed this and I ran back to Jim and said, Jim, how are we going to trade? Oh, I'll give you $400 trade. And that got me down to $200. I said, Jim, do you remember when I traded you so-and-so for that Maynard carbine? He said, yeah. I said, this is, oh hell, just call it even. So I got this one for nothing. Well, I traded him, I had nothing in to start off with.
Wow, that's awesome.
February of '99, this thing shows up. He came, he said, I had 3 of these guns, 4 of these guns on display. Arthur came by and said, Charlie, I didn't know you collected those old cave guns. I said, yeah. Why? What you going to tell me? Get a chance to come by my table. The onion skin tag stapled to the stock. This gun found in the cave Lookout Mountain, 1931. $985 he wanted. I did so hard trading that weekend, and I ended up with this one with about 300 cash in it.
Wow.
So there's my 5. There's still 3 out there floating someplace. So that's that little story.
That's very neat. Thank you for sharing, Charlie. Appreciate it.
There's more to come on it, I hope.